For me.
Yeah, I'm going to be the cringiest person ever and say my favorite memory is the one that we're about to make today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I had to throw that one in there. We got Casey back, and she had a lot of fun catching up with some fans, getting to have some conversations with them.
Okay, you guys look especially lovey-dovey. What's going on here?
We got engaged this weekend for this trip, so yeah.
Right before our flight to Seattle.
Yeah, right before we left yesterday. We've been here.
So she could wear the ring all weekend.
Let me see the ring.
It was my aunt's, so it's a family ring. So he got it resized and everything on his own. And
We've been so excited for this trip.
Yeah, we've known each other since high school. Been dating for 3 years, so it's about time.
About time, sir. You understand what she means by that?
You're telling me.
What's the best part about coming? I mean, actually, I just got you like 2 minutes in, so maybe you're just not
so
quite
far,
sure yet.
We're excited for the Crimson Skins.
Yeah, the Crimson Witness cash. We're excited just for Dota, the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my mother. I got her into Dota because we need something to share and have in common, and she got completely hooked on it. And despite the fact that she's never played a game, she started watching in 2017, and she knows all the teams, all the players. She is a huge fan, wakes up at like 6 in the morning to watch Dota.
Deal?
Getting the goodie bag.
Let me see what's in there. Have you looked in?
I haven't.
Okay, let's take a look.
It's a my badge, and oh, it's Alina.
Oh, look at that.
Pretty cool.
Are you here with a bunch of friends?
Yeah, they're right up there, I think. Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, where are you?
No, I mean they ditched me. They ditched me at this point.
Wait, you let me take you on an escalator to nowhere and ditched your friends.
Yeah, anything for you, Casey.
Tell me what team you're here for. Nouns, all the way Nouns. Yes.
NA Dota. We made it.
Which team are you here for?
It's Nouns.
Nouns. Okay, what about you?
LGD.
Yeah, what about you?
Spirit.
Yeah, what about
Spirit.
you? Team Spirit. I'm getting tired. What? Oh no! Which team? Russia. Russia.
Just Spirit.
Okay,
Russia.
which team?
Liquid.
Liquid. Which team?
Nouns got this.
Okay.
Sure.
Phil, I'm very tight. Want me, bro? Hi, what are you ready for? What are you ready for?
No, wait for
What about you? What about you? Quick, we're getting to the end.
No, no.
Ah, God.
What is that?
What do you mean, where is slacks? Get out of here.
We're asking everyone their favorite team there, who they're hoping is going to be taking home the Aegis, and that's the top 8 teams. But we had many other weekends of Dota before this. We had groups 2 weekends ago. We had playoffs last weekend as well. With playoffs, key memories. What came out of that when we had to say goodbye to, how many of us? 8 other teams, which was massive. This was the bracket for it. We had the upper bracket, the lower bracket, and there were so many teams that we had to say goodbye to what cost.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's just the way it is. I'm really glad that there's a rise in Eastern European Dota. This is the region that has a lot of new up-and-coming players. As we can see, they had the 3 teams in the upper bracket, starting in the upper bracket quarterfinals, and also China. China showing up strong. This is the first time that they started TI with only 2 teams, so really glad that they're doing well. Both teams in the upper bracket semis.
Yeah, I mean, Eastern Europe gave us one of the greatest TI Cinderella stories of all time with Team Spirit at TI 10, and it feels like Virtus Pro are on a little bit of potentially replicating that run, because it seems like everything has just clicked for them right in time. I did not expect them to get this far, and if they've gone under the radar that long, they may catch everybody by surprise. So that is my team to watch for today.
I feel like there's another team that has a similar sort of Cinderella story potential for themselves, Reza. That's Nouns. I know you're a fan of them. We also had Casey catching up. A lot of people rooting for Nouns.
Of course I am. It takes me back to the memories of DC times when we were the dark horse. We were not expecting anything from like our team, and they're kind of in that position as well, where like there's no pressure on them, but they can only perform, and they can perform in front of their audience, which is like amazing, and it gives them energy. And we might see some unexpected results today for sure.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns. We had a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. That's what you talked about, Rezo. Not only in this stadium will that happen, but we had it last weekend at the convention center during our playoffs. So let's have a recap. Let's see how all of our teams performed a weekend ago.
Quinn's back with a shield rune at that. Oh, Shell Grave just at the right time to be able to bail up Dyrachyo. They finish up the tree, but Dyrachyo fighting for his life right now. Great avalanche to be able to cover him up, but the Shallow Graves are just going. He will not die. Finally, because deals with them, but the damage is done. Dyrachyo lives.
Yotaka, he's right behind him. He's going to get instantly hexed. There's the RP onto 2. Can they take out the OD? Aghanim Scepter does activate again. He's going to get rooted up in an ice. Mystic Flare onto 2 heroes. There's the buyback onto the tree, but the OD is lost along with the Primal. Shiro finally takes a tumble. There's the Overgrowth. Nice dispel coming out from Moo. Instantly getting rid of that, and now Whitemon completely surrounded. Kasane really low, but again, he has the Aegis, so that's life number 1. The roll in with the Mystic Flare is enough to take out Ari just by using that ult. A huge team fight win for Nouns as they clean up nicely.
Jeff picks up the Aegis. 23 is going to have that extra life. Is he going to be fine though? Maybe in there with a BKB, but he don't. Away the game. He managed to push through both of those heroes, 1 versus 2, and the rest of Talon are crumbling to the initiation of the storms here.
Well, it's going to show on the tower. DP's going to start to come in. The Electro burst through the spectrum. Immediately he went to set up the round again. The Mystic Flare has been popped. They didn't have enough damage. Rose perfectly fine. He's ready to turn. The dagger across. They brought down Gunner. They'll take down Moo as well underneath the tower. Rose survives. Janssen also to fall here. Sumner's catching him with the stun.
Now they did kill off the Muerto already. Laurel tries to back away. Tries to escape. Yaro gunslinging away. Does he have enough damage? Can he get out of there? Survives. He turns it around. Triple kill. Yaro goes for an ultra.
Oh, it couldn't have been worse.
Last weekend, it was those 8 teams that got knocked out. Shopify, Key, TSM, EG, Talon, Entity, Tundra, 9 Pandas. We won't be seeing any of those players gracing the stage, but it did leave us with our top 8. We saw them there: LGD, Azure, Liquid, BetBoom, Team Spirit Gaming, Gladiators, Nouns, and Virtus Pro. So these 8 teams, there's a potential for TI repeats. It's only ever happened once before, guys, but there is a potential for it to happen again. There is the obvious Team Spirit minus LOL are going to have their chance to be able to lift the Aegis for a second time over the next few days. But also Toronto Tokyo is still in the running on his new team, BetBoom, and we have Y Smile still left there on LGD.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Toronto Tokyo is up there because it was a really difficult decision for him to make to leave the Team Spirit. After winning TI and not having the greatest result TI afterwards, he, also changed the position, which is a bit of an awkward one, going from mid lane to position 5, not a traditional transition that you see in Dota 2, but Team Spirit, they still have it, this magical TI run that they had at TI 10, and also they seem to power up as we get closer to TI. They just won the Riyadh Masters, and the boys, they're back in town.
Yeah, but also Y from LGD. I feel like LGD got so close TI 10. It felt like they had the hopes and dreams of their entire region on them for so long, and it felt like we saw the decline of the Chinese region afterwards, where teams just did not perform the year after. We only had 2 Chinese teams come into this TI, but the 2 that came in with Azure and LGD, they look so good. They look like they're there to reinvigorate the region, and a 2-time TI win for Y could be just what they need. So I am really excited to see him here contending again in top form.
There's a lot of hopefuls, and I am excited to see if that's going to happen. And obviously, it feels like no matter what does happen, Effie, there's going to be that China region sort of being reborn off of the back of TI 12 here. But there's also new hopefuls, right? Everyone that hasn't won is a new hopeful, but some people, it's their first TI, Rezo. We've got a lot of people on our screen here, and these are all of the players. First time TI, first time here in Climate Pledge Arena, first time on this main stage for the International, and they could, in 3 days' time, be lifting the Aegis.
I just love to see the combination of new players coming with the old players to the TI, because back in my days, we were coming like everybody was new, but now you have this synergy between new and old. And that's why, that's how you can actually win the championships. Like for Virtus Pro, for example, they have on their squad that G, very very veteran player like FNG that's leading the team right now. So they're they have what it takes to actually be the champions. And there's there's possibilities, definitely.
I feel like it also adds on to what you were just saying, Effie, about how, like, why picking up the Aegis again for themselves would be massive for LGD to win. But they've got 3 new players too, so even more so that it's like there's a lot of hope for new players in that region.
Yeah, and I'm sure their veteran teammates want them to experience the feeling of winning something. I mean, we saw it in the Riyadh Masters with Team Spirit. Yasser said that the reason why they tried so hard is they just wanted Laurel to experience that sensation of winning and picking up the trophy. So for that to happen for all of these hopefuls, that would be incredible. But also, I just want to shout out Gunnar, because it's wild to think that he's a TI rookie. It feels like he got so close every year to almost qualifying for TI. He's worked TI as an analyst, but for him to finally be playing a TI as a player and in the top 8, in the playoffs no less, in his home region, I mean, that is a story.
Yeah, I mean, last year was so tough for them, last chance qualifiers. That's how far and how close they were to be able to, crowning themselves as TI players. But this almost feels like a story for them, like a fairy tale for them. We've had a lot of faces return here for TI. We saw Casey. We're going to see another familiar face. It's Purge.
362 days. That's the time since Tundra lifted the Aegis of Champions in Singapore. Since then, 123 teams in 6 different regions competed in leagues and majors to make it here to the road to the international. We started on that road at TI with 20 teams. In the last 2 weeks, there's been 126 games. That's 6 rampages. There's been 603 buybacks, 4,866 observer wards, and 343,461 dead creeps. Now, the road has been littered with heartbreak and hearts of Trask, but that road led us here back to Seattle for the first time in 6 years. So we're left with the final 8 teams. That's 8 teams who are fighting for one goal, and that goal is to lift the Aegis of Champions.
Purge giving us all the numbers there, and I got some more numbers for you. That's the times that we might be seeing our teams playing. It's our schedule for day 1 of TI12 Nouns Gaming Gladiators. We're starting up with that elimination match. It's going to be followed up with another one between Bet Boom and Virtus Pro. We're going to then shift to the upper bracket. We have Team Spirit against Liquid. We'll see if they're able to rival each other, and then LGD Azure going to have that interregional China showdown.
Yeah, it's hard to choose which one is going to be like the most exciting one, because all of these are bangers. Interregional matchups, they might be, people think, oh, they're not going to be as hype. But for me, LGD against Azure Ray, this is going to be the hypest one, because they didn't get the chance to play as much, because Azure Ray, they formed during the 3rd DPC tour. So I want to see, who's going to be the best Chinese team here.
And it's not just that, it's old LGD versus
Pretty
new
much.
LGD, right? So there's always that kind of, sense of arrogance and wanting to prove that you are the better version of that team. And we see this a lot with interregional rivalries. We saw it in South America when EG and Beastcoast had their big roster shuffle. And they both wanted to prove that we are the best players in this region. We're better than you. So I feel like we're going to see that with LGD and Azure today.
A lot of pressure on the teams for today. Hopefully they're not putting it on themselves, though, as they did arrive earlier this morning. They were walking on the red carpet. We see all of our teams trickling in there. What sort of emotions does that bring back for you, Rezo?
That's pretty cool. Like when you walk in on this red carpet, like you feel like you're success. People are watching you. People wanted to see you like walking on that stage, playing on that stage. It's a very incredible feeling, to be honest.
It was nice to hear some of the audience as well cheering when they saw the players that they're obviously here supporting, walking up as well. So we know the players are in the building. They're prepping themselves up for the day that is going to unfold for them. And any big matchups that you want to highlight, Effie? Because Lacoste couldn't pick, right? Lacoste couldn't pick over there. He's an undecided Andy.
Yeah. Outside of the one we just talked about, I feel like we have to say this Nouns Gaming Gladiators match has to be the one to watch. Not to be biased because we're starting the day with it, but it could be one of the biggest upset in TI history if Nouns, a team that nobody expected to make it this far, didn't have a good year, knock out the team that won every major back-to-back this year. I mean, that would be a crazy story.
They have it all lined up for themselves. They just have to get over that last little hurdle, that bit of actually winning the series. We're not up to it just yet. I want to talk about this 4-day break, okay? Because Gaming Gladiators announced they're going to be the first team going in. There's always an essence of calming the nerves if you're seeing other people on stage, if you see other people experience it first, that you might be a little bit in a saner headspace. But 4 days break, how does that alter one, Reza? How do you take such a big break off after playing for 1 day in playoffs?
I mean, I think there's also a struggle of like teams finding opponents, right? Because like you don't really want to show your strategies, and you get to pick like only a few teams that you're like on the different side of the bracket, so you can practice your things and without worrying that people are gonna steal them or anything like that. I know for gamings, for example, they didn't want to scream like many teams because they thought they would, they teach other teams like how to play better instead of like they're improving because they're already like at a very high level, right? So it's definitely like a struggle for teams to have that practice during those 4 days, but it also a very like good time to be creative and find some other strategies that can like find like, for example, counter picks to Bristleback or like to Primal Beast, this heroes that are in the meta, like find some different unique approaches to them.
How would you spend your 4 days viewer coaching or as a player, Lacoste?
It's not an easy one because, these 4 or 5 days, I think it benefits more these more established teams like Gaming Gladiators because they're the team that was studied the most throughout 2023. They were the team that, if you wanted to win a tournament, you needed to be prepared to meet the final boss of 2023. And Nouns, they've also been a team, I like to call them the hipster team of Dota because they like to experiment a lot, playing all of these new things. So I'm pretty sure that in these 4 or 5 days, they managed to, slip a couple of these heroes that we maybe haven't seen. And they're going to be able to put them in this series against Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this 4-day break is really interesting because when we have these really cool Cinderella type runs at TI, it happens because nobody has time to prepare for the team that suddenly shows up. But 4 days puts a wedge in that entirely, right? And then it becomes about your preparation. It becomes about your draft notes, how well you're going to go into a series in terms of how you're going to respond to their heroes, how you're examining them over the next few days, and how your players do personally, because that would change player to player on how they can reel in their emotions, if it makes them more anxious to wait before they play, or if it makes them more calm. So there are a lot of variables that we're not used to seeing. So I have no idea what's going to happen today.
I like that you did mention the draft prep, though, because I did some prep myself. I looked at some numbers, and I was very surprised at the changes between groups and playoffs. And I wanted to see if you guys thought there might be some changes between playoffs and groups of heroes that we're seeing. So between groups and playoffs, AA went from a 28% contest rate all the way up to 65%. So jumped massively. Bristol as well was already pretty high at 62%, went up to 92%, whereas Venge went from 46 down to 7.6%.
I think the correlation between this AA and Bristol has like a lot of in common because AA is a counter to Bristleback, so this is also the hero that everybody's stanky, so you want to be able to burst them down. And Bristleback, I think a lot of teams throughout the tournament figured out, this is just OP. We don't know how to counter it, so most of the time you'll see Bristleback being banned because it's so difficult. Like a lot of teams do manage to sneak it in, especially Gaming Gladiators in their last series that they played. They played it 2 times and they looked amazing with it.
I like how Liquid approached the Bristleback. I was talking to Blitz and he said, like Zai said in the game that we're gonna kill this Bristleback 10 times before he gets to the items. And they like managed to try lane or even like four people bring on his lane and like keep killing jobs in that game. So that's the only approach they knew how to how to stop that here. But basically AA has a unique mechanic of like stopping the region, and because like it's matter of Heart of Tarask, right? You guys like stopping this item from being useful, and that's why like it's here in top. But for Venge, like for example, it's very weak on lane, it doesn't provide as much damage, and you need to have damage supports in this meta.
Yeah, but I'm also just really glad that you brought up Vengeful Spirit kind of being shafted a little bit, because there's this interesting phenomenon that happens every TI where the group stage meta, if it's being played online and not in front of a crowd of this caliber, or even the crowd that we had during the Road to TI playoffs, which was not at this scale, but still quite nerve-wracking, a lot of teams will shift from these single-target, individualistic type of heroes to team fight. Every TI, team fight somehow always comes back into the meta. So a support like Vengeful Spirit, who just gives you a damage amplification but not that much team fight presence, will always be pushed away in favor of your Phoenixes, your Ancient Apparitions. We see this also with Rubik somehow coming back into TI meta always, Shaker coming back into TI meta always. I feel like it's just how teams reel in their nerves. You simplify Dota, you play for team fights, you play for the big plays.
All right, well, we've discussed a lot of topics this morning. We've gone over what teams are remaining. We've gone over potential shifts in meta, how teams have spent their last 4 days, that anticipation, those nerves. Are they ready? How are they going to be sitting it for themselves? And it does mean the checklist is getting towards the bottom. We only have a couple more things to do, and that is to have our TI-12 opening ceremony.
light of champion shines from within. An inner fire that drives the quest for greatness. And burns away fears of failure whenever the battle horn blows. It feeds conviction to explore beyond imagined boundaries, to find new standards of excellence and carve a path to victory like we've never seen before. The road is filled with fallen adversaries, but the battle for the Aegis endures. And those who remain will fight to show everyone legends don't follow in the footsteps of others.
GG is finally home. Team Spirit. Now, knock out their NA brethren.
Ray onto the ancient. GG is called.
Back boom! They're gonna claim the game! They're gonna call it here. GG, Team Liquid.
Gaming Gladiators today completely crushing 9-pounders. Virtus Pro knocking Entity out of the competition.
LGD completely dominated.
The Aegis of Champions returns to the heart of Seattle. And fans again bear witness on this storied ground. Eight teams compete for ultimate glory. Only one can seize immortality. Who will emerge victorious? The battle begins. Please welcome the finest Dota teams in the world. Game in Gladiators. Nouns. Boom team. Virtus Pro. Team Spirit. Team Liquid. LGD Gaming. Azure Ray.
Seriously?
Remember, Gabe, it's just a game. Oh, yeah, that's true. Wait, did he just tilt you with your own voice line? Yes. What? Hi, I'm Gabe Newell. And like many of you, I have a complicated relationship with Dota. What's not complicated is when you bring the best players in the world together at the highest level of competition. And I'm personally very pleased that we're able to do this in Seattle for the first time in half of a decade. So to all of you, welcome to the International.
It's been 6 years, Dota fans. Seattle, did you miss us? We missed you too.
It feels so good to be home, baby! Welcome back home! Best Dota teams in the world at the best Climate Pledge Arena in the world coming down here to fight for their lives. This is what we live for, baby. This is it!
We brought 20 teams here on the road, and 8 of them remain for the International. Are you guys ready to see them duke it out?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Seattle!
I'm definitely excited about TI returning to Seattle. It was basically where it all began, right?
I love TI in Seattle. I feel like this is the best TI that ever have been. I'm super stoked for Seattle.
Arena was a really important place for Dota. That arena was really magic.
I've heard from a lot of players that Seattle TI is always like something special.
I never got to play there, so I'm really grateful to get to that city. I think it's also a really beautiful city. Of course, it's gonna be the same arena like the last TIs, right? So it's gonna be cool to be at that place in person. It's quite a historical place for a Dota player, I think.
可能会有更加特殊的自信吧，然后一切都还是要先等到去呼吸一下西雅图的空气吧，然后去感受一下那边的氛围。
Muy emocionado, o sea, fue mi primer tiempo fue en Seattle y como que siento que volver ahí puede marcar para mí un antes y un después, así que me siento muy emocionado de ir ahí.
I'm really excited for TI to be coming back to Seattle. The crossing of worlds there and like family members or friends getting to like see that piece is like really cool and special, I think.
Having TI back in Seattle is going to be really fun. I think it's going to tie into a lot of the nostalgic value that I have for my early TIs.
I really want to find some Starbucks in Seattle and try it.
It's okay. Basically, it's like the OG place in some ways. So I'm really excited for it to be there.
It's such an iconic place for a Dota tournament. Seattle is like the TI city.
Seattle will always hold a special place in every Dota player's heart, whether you're up there on the stage playing as a pro player, if you're at home right now watching as a casual player. This arena and this place means so much for us. And now we have a cathedral in the sky. This is the theme, everything that we've been seeing building up to this moment, Effie, of this year and this past month.
Dude, I'm so excited. I just can't contain myself watching those videos, just watching the memories, being here again. There are no words to put this feeling.
It's a very special, unique experience for me to be watching and not having having to deal with the pressure and just purely enjoying the picture of it and the memories and what's happening before is just such an incredible feeling. I'm really grateful to be here, actually.
And what about you, Lucas? We're going to be having our first two teams walking out on stage very soon. Not just yet, though.
I mean, this is magical. I can't really even explain it. Look at how beautiful this is. This is by far the best thing we've ever had at TI, without a doubt.
I'm just fully with Evie. It's so hard to be able to put everything into words. I just want to look. I don't even want to speak right now. The opening ceremony, it was absolutely beautiful, but it is time. We have to see some Dota action. We have to see some teams walk out, and we're going to be graced with Gaming Gladiators, our first team to climb at Pledge Arena. The roar that the arena has to them. Look at Duracio pulling out the muscles there. He wants to go far. He wants to be able to play as many games on this stage as possible. They've been able to do majors, but will they be able to show up on the stage that really matters against their first opponent? They're able to stand up against the task that is Gaming Gladiators, Effie.
My goodness, can you imagine how Nouns are feeling right now walking onto that stage? I mean, I was just watching Gunnar walk in there. He's been wanting to play on the main stage for so long. This has been a dream of his for so long, and they have something to prove here today versus Gaming Gladiators. I mean, this is like a David and Goliath kind of situation. Even though GG are coming in from the lower bracket, they were the dominant team all year. They were the team to beat all year. So this is going to be a true test for Nouns here.
Pretty much, this is the last NA team left, which probably no one expected them to be here. You know, the whole underdog story and reaching top 8, and they're still not done, you know, because they played in the groups and it was 1-1. So I feel like Nouns, they have something special prepared for gaming in this one.
I mean, they have to. Nouns just as a whole, I feel like you can describe as special. Even throughout DPC too, as we're seeing them pick up a lot of different heroes in very unique places already, just on the road to the international. We saw Gunnar playing Ogre mid, and when it comes to officials, that is very out of the box. The same thing with Moo, their offlaner, picking up that Witch Doctor. Dazzle as well. Ogre, offlane too, Rezo.
Yeah, they have very unique strategies, and they use and profit a lot as well from the past games. And I'm just happy to see Gunnar on this stage. Like, I know this guy for a long time, and there's a story about him. Like, when he lost one of his TI qualifiers, he went straight up like to the basement and like practiced non-stop. Like after that, like
really,
this is shows like his his will of like do it no matter what. And I'm really happy that I look at him right now, like on this stage, performing like already in top 8 and having a chance to like be this incredible Cinderella story going forward with it.
Yeah, and he got here with his own flair, right? Just like Nat was mentioning, with the Ogres, the Witch Doctor offlanes, the first pick Naga Sirens. I mean, this team has brought their own special flavor or variety of Dota, I would say, to TI, and it's taken them this far. So I'm just really excited to see if they've cooked up anything new, if they're gonna keep doing the picks that we've seen, or if they've maybe they're gonna bust out that Dark Willow carry for Hector. I know that's not its style, but that seems to be the new, flavor of the week here.
And the Hector has been amazing. You know, if we talk back a couple of years ago when he was playing for the Beastcoast, he was always that guy. You know, the K1 TP. One of the reasons why the games are longer because he tends to farm slightly, you know, more than some of the other carries. But his PL performance against TSM, he was really pushing the limits with the hero. And glad to see that he's back on track because you know, watching Hector play, he's been studied by most carry players for a good reason for a really long time.
I also want to compliment Lelis on this team. I was like really surprised about his performance on this TI, and like especially like heroes like Clockwork and Skywrath Mage. He's been performing insanely well, like doing all the rotation and like always hitting up his spells like perfectly. And I don't know, it's just like it's very good to see him like how he switched from the position 3 to position 4 and like performing like in this incredibly high level already.
Okay, well, if we're already naming all the Nouns players, we may as well put Yamson in there as well. I think a special shout out to him because just before qualifiers, after they had the unfortunate performance at the Bali Major that they did, Yamson went from 1 to 5, right? They had that roster change up for them. That's how they were able to bring in K1 and they're able to show up like they have now. So Yamson as well making a really big change for himself, and now he's a top 8 TI 12 finalist.
Yeah, he looks like he's been playing support forever. I mean, but I'm so glad you brought him up because you have to give kudos to a player willing to sacrifice themselves for their team. Because based on the interview that I read with Gunnar a few months ago when they first made the initial roster shift, Yamson himself was like, we need to make a change. Something didn't work out at Bali. Hector is a free agent. He says he's willing to play with us. I'm not willing to leave the team. I've played support before. I can switch to position 5. And he did it. He just gave up his role, and it looks like it worked out perfectly for them to be able to put yourself in that position for the greater good of your team. That's a very good teammate. That's somebody that you do want to play with.
I do admire players like this because it takes like a lot of you know, conscious about like how you wanna like make your team the best, right? And if it means to switch the position and like bring the other player in, like sure, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm that player myself too. Like I switched many roles during my career just because like I wanted to play like with the people that I admire and respect. Like if it takes that, you know, going out of the comfort zone and learning something new, I'm willing to take that risk, you know.
It's not only just us, by the way, that feel this Nouns flair when it comes to heroes, where they're going to play it. Because I was talking to Quinn, and he said the hardest thing about facing Nouns is that you could put hours, days, maybe 4 days worth of prep into Nouns, but they could show up and they could just throw that out the window, every prep that you've done, and they could just pick something new, something that no one's expecting at all, because that's what they've been working in the backlines, and they think that catching someone off guard is going to be what pushes them through an elimination, takes them that level higher, and is able to elevate them. So Gaming Gladiators also have a pretty tough task ahead of themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, they're very creative as a team when it comes down to picks, how they're going to play it. I think Moo plays a big part of that team when it comes down to being versatile in the heroes that he's been playing, because, you know, he can pretty much play anything. This offlane Dazzle, offlane Witch Doctor brought a couple of records as well in terms of healing at TI because of it. And this guy, you know, he didn't play at TI since he got the second place at TI 6, and then he was kind of gone, you know, showing up here and there, but started to play again recently, and it really paid off. And I'm really glad to see some, you know, old school players coming back and coming in very hot, reaching top 8 already.
For sure, always great to see. But on the topic of Gaming Gladiators, and it's really funny to hear Quinn say that about Nouns, because I feel like in a way, Gaming are kind of antithetical to how Nouns work, right?
The complete inverse.
Right? You feel like you know what they're going to pick. They're very good at what they play. People prepare for them, and they still lose to their heroes. So to have a team that has such a stable hero pool, you know, by the book from mostly everything, with the exception of the Necrophoses coming out recently, with the exception of the support invokers, you kind of know what Ace is going to pick. You know what they're going to build around. You know what kind of carry style Duratio is going to be playing. So it's going to be an interesting collision of styles here.
It did bring some new heroes though, like this Chen from Celery. Like we didn't see many Chens in this tournament. I think Duratio also picking up that Weaver that not a lot of carry players are willing to take that risk, because it's very squishy hero, and he, like, for this team, like they can rely heavily on Ace, because Ace is that kind of like guy who's like sometimes even their main carry. You know, you see this Brewmaster like going Midas is Radiance. He's not like really playing position 3. He's playing like more of a Von, and Durachi is like taking over of like this aggressive carry hero that's running around the map and making space for him.
We're actually going to directly compare Ace and Moo. We've talked about the clashes of flares, the clashes of styles here between them. And Moo, having only played 2 extra heroes, a lot of different ones though for himself. So we kind of already highlighted there, but the Ogre and the Dazzle, this was stuff that they picked up in playoffs last week.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that the Dawnbreaker, which is one of the popular offlaners of this patch, Moo just hasn't played it, you know? I think that his Brewmaster is one of the scariest in this tournament, and this is a hero that you cannot give away. But at the same time, you never know when he's going to bust out his offlane Witch Doctor, his offlane Dazzle. I mean, anything could happen. With Ace, he's just the rock of game, and like we've mentioned, they build around his Primal Beasts and his Bristles, and he always delivers in terms of farm security, always delivers in terms of, you know, correct target priority in team fights, and that's why he's so scary. It feels like you can never shut him down, but he'll never catch you off guard in terms of hero picks.
And one of the reasons why they were so successful throughout the year is this Ace stability. They're offlane duo, but Ace as a player, I think he needed to adapt the most after, you know, the big patch drop, because they were playing this early base Dota, you know, buying all these auras and then grouping up, finishing the games pretty quickly. He needed to swap things around because of all of these aura buyers, they were gone. So he needed to implement new heroes, and really glad that they are also playing this faster style of Dota. You know, the average game time at TI was around 40 minutes, and they are speeding things up, because if you look at their last series that they played against 9 Pandas, they really demolished them. These games were so quick. One game ended in 19 minutes.
Wow.
There's also a secret behind Ace and Tofu and why they're so successful in the lane. I know for sure that they've been playing like party games, maybe on even
Power of friendship.
Yeah, the power of friendship. They've been playing on Smurfs together like for a long time, and that's why like they're winning all these majors, because they have such a big synergy like between them, and they understand each other pretty well. Like, you know, both hero pools and stuff, like how to do this micro little things on the lane that, you know, would win the lanes, and you know, that's the key to their success.
I thought you were actually going to say it was their coach, CY, because that's also a new addition for them this year. And CY, Astini, 2 very different styles of coaching, I'd feel, Effie.
Oh, completely.
Oh, she's ready for the monologue.
Okay, yes. No, so I don't want to go too in-depth about it, because we did touch up on a little bit, but I feel like Astini is a very cerebral kind of coach. He makes his style more so about the hero picks themselves, not so much in the motivational aspect or in the, you know, working on each player individually in terms of their psychology or not, whereas CY does that. He's that motivational coach.
We're going to see how the coaches are going to be able to motivate, what they're going to pick as draft pick. Game 1 is here.
Nouns versus Game in Gladiators. Game 1.
If it didn't feel real with the opening ceremony, it has to feel real now. Our first series of TI12 here in Climate Pledge Arena draft. Up on screen here, Murta being banned out. We're going to wait to see what else gets banned out between these 2 teams. Do you want to stab in the dark? Bristle, SB, will we seeing those ones let through Dazzle at all?
But I don't think Bristol is getting through. It's just too hard to deal with of that hero. Like it just creates so much pressure on the enemies to stop him completely, and it allows your other heroes to be completely free if the enemy team does that.
Yeah, but I feel like there are so many heroes that have presented themselves as problems in the I try to counter it with something like a Shadow Demon or a Yule's Buyer, and it just doesn't work out. So I do wonder if we're going to see the cow.
Gonna have more move speed, more items, and like more chaos is gonna be created in the fights.
The big hero that I'm looking into, especially for gaming Gladiators, is CK. This hero is just insane. The amount of farm that the hero can get, and also team fight. Like you hit your early items, and like it's just too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and
banned.
it's taken out.
Yeah.
There's also the Brewmaster that
Yeah.
we mentioned.
Turn to Game in Gladiators.
There you go.
I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I do feel like Moo is one of the best brews at this tournament. And in Nouns' series versus TSM in the Road to TI playoffs, this hero was the bane of their existence. It's the reason why they can never end the game on their timer. And yeah, this is pretty scary. Usually teams solve a brew with carries like Luna, things with AoE damage that can kill the brewlings later on, but Luna has had a bit of a decline.
I mean, historically, Anti-Mage and Nyx was like counter picks to the Brewmaster, but those heroes are not gonna be seen in this meta for a while.
I mean, if there's a team to play Lifestealer, it is Gaming Gladiators. Duraccio always calls for these bizarre last picks sometimes. I remember at the BB Dacha tournament, we were sitting down and watching the game and draft in the green room, and then this Lifestealer comes out, overall last pick. Everyone was confused by it. CY walks into the green room. He's like, that was a Duraccio call. That was not me. I do not believe in this pick. But they actually ended up winning the game. So sometimes you have to trust your carry.
And we've seen the smiles coming out from Moo because he should be pretty happy about getting Brewmaster in the first phase, because this hero does pretty much everything. If game drags post 40 minutes, this hero just becomes insane. If you don't have enough to kill the Brewlings during the split, especially sieging the high ground, this is the most difficult thing in Dota. It's been like that forever. Brewmaster comes in very handy. And on the side of Gaming Gladiators, we did touch upon Weaver as the pick, which can be played as a carry, this like newer build where you pick up early shard, you go for Deso, and then you start joining some of these earlier fights. The hero, a bit squishy, but it can also be played as position 4. Tofu didn't play it yet, but there were other teams that try to experiment, especially Tundra with this position 4 Weaver, and it looked really good in the laning stage. And also a hero that can scale, if we're talking about the position 4, which you get items like Rod of Atos, upgrade it to Gleipnir later on, some Solar Crest, you're, transitioning really well.
Yeah, I want to touch on that position for Weaver a little bit more, because when Tundra played it, they were able to be really aggressive. They were able to take over a lot of this map, and if the game were to play out in an immaculate fashion, they would have closed it out in about 20-22 minutes. So Weaver might be hitting this pace, this tempo that you guys also touched on, that Gaming Gladiators want to start bringing a little bit more with this meta.
Yeah, they were doing some really cool things with that Weaver, actually. I remember watching Nine just rotate mid behind the tower around minute 5 and just kill the enemy mid laner that Thompson had gotten really low. So Weaver is one of those supports that if it is flexed, it can just be played in ways that are very open in the game. And just back during the DPC, when support Weaver was very popular first pick material, it was Tofu who kind of brought it into the meta with the Vessel.
So I was going to say why the Weaver works so well for that Tundra was it was paired with the Grimstroke, so you could put the Inkswell on you, and you go in, and it was just this instant, almost guaranteed stun.
Yeah, this was the pairing that people were playing in pubs back in the days when Grimstroke was first introduced to Weaver and Grimstroke. So you put Phantom, you put the Swarm and the Inkswell. So you can't kill the Phantom, you can't kill Swarm, and you're also going to get stunned. And Grimstroke has been the hero that has been buffed. When I first read the patch notes, I'm like, this is pretty big, but after seeing the TI groups playoffs as well, this hero is just insane. The fact that you can time your stun, it makes him so much more potent in some of these earlier engagements.
Yeah, and by adding this Grimstroke to this draft, you can safely say that this Weaver can go against this Brewmaster in lane, because that's the way that you can solve this hero, is you punish it. You kill it over and over again while you still can. And that level 3 Phantom's Embrace, when you have to hit it 3 times versus Brewmaster, into another stun follow-up, maybe from the mid lane, maybe something like a Shaker with a Fisher from a distance. If you can take out this Brew at the start of a fight, that is a way to solve this hero.
Oh, they went for Dark Willow. I wonder if it's position 1 Dark Willow actually for K1, and they practice it and they're gonna show us something new today. But I did think that they would go for Lily Skywrath Mage, because it's like it's really good to have silence against Weaver, or like some Bloodseeker, for example. Like that makes this hero like pretty hard to pull off. But once again, we don't see a lot of Bloodseekers in this meta, even though he has like a percentage-based damage, which is pretty cool against all the beefy heroes.
Dawnbreaker's still in the pool. It's the hero that synergizes well with Weaver, and also another hero that does have something to deal with Dark Willow. We talked about this being, heavy hard blade mail meta, but also untargetable heroes like Dark Willow and also Huerta. These heroes are very difficult to deal with, so you need some kind of AoE to be able to stun the hero. This is why I think Dawnbreaker comes in.
Gaming Gladiators' turn to pick.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Tide Hunter. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Earth Spirit. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick. Terror Blade. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. What's it with? Choose your hero. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Тише, мальчик.
Сегодня я не в форме.
Prepare for battle!
Phenomenal. 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 Phenomenal.
OK， 兄弟们，全体目光向我看齐啊！
Daddy, chill.
What's wrong? 看多久一个？No. "30 seconds to battle."
Group is definitely the underdogs against the three-time major winner. But Nouns were also once upon a time looked as the third best team in North America. And then they took down all of their competition back to the NADBC. They ran right through it, and they have now proclaimed themselves the best North American team. Maybe they could do much, much more by being able to bring down what was once the best Western European.
And if any team has insider info, it's going to be Nouns, right? You have Les Lau out here. He's played with Quinn. They've been on the same team before. He knows how he wants to play, knows how he wants to abuse this mid lane. And that's been one of the secrets to gaming success all year. How do you deal with the support rotations? How do you deal with the mid lane matchups? Shut down the side laners while all that's happening at the same time. And this is another game in lineup that is driven to go high ground early if you give them a start. Chen, Tidehunter, these are two of the heroes they've gone back to. We saw that Necroban as well, just to get the trifecta out of there. You give them a lead at 20 minutes, they're going to be pushing tier 3 very fast. You have illusion heroes, you have a Furion, you can stall this map. Can you stalwart the tempo that comes out from gaming and get yourself into that mid late game where you can shine? Because you have Earth Spirit, you have Brewmaster, these are heroes that have won Nouns so many mid late games. As long as you can get there.
We're going to start off Nouns needing to be able to win this early lane and starting off with the first blood. Celery is going to go down. Gunner will clean it up with a boulder from downtown. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we also have a fight on the other bounty rune where they are going to be able to get a kill. So it is a trade-off. Nouns do manage to get the first blood, particularly for their mid laner is very important. That'll help in this mid matchup. Gunner versus Quinn, a matchup that we have seen time and time and time again. It used to be in the NADPC all the time. Quinn making a name for himself as one of the best laners in North America and then became one of the best laners in the world. And Gunner was always kind of in his shadow.
These are players that have studied under each other. He's going to get one of his signature heroes. He's going to pop off, and he's mid-game a lot more than you are. They knew the Pango was coming as well. They know it's not a real hero, so they know this matchup's not a real matchup. Just a matter of who imaginarily gets out of it more. I think Gunner's going to show up today.
I mean, that's the great part about Gunner, right? Is that this is a player who I think Nouns buck a lot of trends, and one of them is definitely the fact that Gunner is the player out of all the teams in the top 8, the mid laner who will take the least amount of farm, and he will just try and make plays happen as early as possible. He is a tempo player. He once told me when he was playing on in Southeast Asia with the Jinnabrews team, he told me, "I don't care deaths. I do not care deaths. I only want to make plays happen." And there's a play right there. Celery finds an opening, being able to kill Lelis. Now, it did cost Durachi had to run down the river quite heavily to be able to find that. Moon's free farming during the meantime, but it does kind of set the tempo here of Gaming Gladiators are looking for kills, and they will catch you out if you tread a little bit too far away from the lane. Under a bit of pressure there into the bridge stroke lane.
Durachi was going to cost him a lot. I mean, this is a great start for Celery, though, and I want to highlight the Chen in this game, because that 20-minute victory Gaming had with Chen, it was all Celery, right? He dominated the safe lane, he rotated mid, yanked that lane twice, that tower died at 8 minutes, the game just exploded. So if you give him a fast start on one of his signature jungle heroes out here, you're going to have auras up, you're going to have the pace. You don't have a lot of outspam or tower defense. That's the one downside of the lineup for now. They really want to take these skirmishes around the whole team, particularly between the Brew and the Earth Spirit here. That's why the XP might be more important to them than the CS. We're talking about they don't care deaths. Deaths determine XP. Causes determine a mental state.
Fortunately, we're going to take a little bit more time to figure out all the issues here. Is this NA Dota? Well, there's a lot of pauses.
Yeah, they didn't host this game on US West.
I mean, K1 Hector, he's like, this is, I'm used to this. This is every single game for me.
I mean, I think Hector's confused because he probably has negative ping compared to what he's normally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This man is always working on at least 90. Shackles are off, and K1 Hector has shown it in addition to Nouns, who has done a lot of work for them. When you come to this idea that Gunner is going to be taking very little farm off the map. He wants to beat plays. He wants to find openings, find kills, set the tempo of the game aggressively. You need somebody to be able to pick up the farm game. And really, nobody better than K1 Hector. You talk about the player who takes the least from their position. Now you're looking at the player who takes the most from their position. K1 Hector is by far the biggest farmer in this tournament.
I mean, there's a reason Hector communicates the way he communicates. We've all been in a pub with Hector. Well, I say all of us. I mean, these guys haven't.
We've been
Let me
there,
tell you. Yeah, Hector, he just screams on the comms the entire game. Give me mana. Give me saddles. Give me stacks.
Yep.
Stop feeding and I'll carry.
That 100% K1 Hector. Stop feeding, stop feed, and I'll carry. That's exactly what that's his vision of the game. Is he is a hard carry player, and there's a reason why he says it's true. If you stop feeding, this man will carry games. He knows how to do it in the late game.
Can you bounce it out? Can you make him work? What's interesting about these two teams as well, they had these additions that they brought into the rest of the four. Hector for Nouns, Quinn for Gaming, and changed the dynamic of the team, right? It creates another threat they can play around. It gives the team a lot of vision, a lot of purpose in the game. If you make these players succeed, they will indeed carry you a lot of these clutch situations. Hector on a Terrorblade, that is a nasty combination. We've seen him be, I think, most proactive on the Chaos Knight, right? But this is a hero that functions very similarly. He can control the map, dictate when he wants to fight. So if he's the most farmed hero going into 30, 40 minutes, you have a decent chance to just shred the front line of Gaming, unless they already have the auras up. So a lot of it coming down to this mid battle, and damn, it is it close. Within 2 CS here for Gunner going into Quinn.
Yeah, and he's got a creep wave coming underneath tower, so if he gets these last hits, which he does with a quick kick, he'll be able to actually secure as lead over mid. Bottom lane though, Durachi is going to be in some trouble. Move, see the opening, yes, it's going to make the rotation. They'll collect not one, but 2 kills in the bottom lane.
Just as I was about to say, where is this Furion going to rotate? Because the mid rotation looks hard if Quinn is this high HP on a mobility hero. You also have to keep in mind when you leave this Terrorblade alone, he's going to get punished, but that is exactly what you're looking for in this early game. Quick rotation into the double kill. Shut Durachio's tempo carry down on this Weaver. Not a hero that likes to play from behind. And just gobble up that experience on the side lane. If you're Nouns, your next biggest priority in this game is probably 6-minute power rune, 7-minute wisdom rune. You get all of those for your 2 supports. you're going to be in a really solid position to contest these tower pushes when they come with the Tide Hunter Meteor Hammer and the Chen grouping up. We'll see if these supports continue to make moves. It's also going to come down to Celery, whether he wants to try and rotate top or mid on this Chen. A hero that can do similar things.
Meta going to be popped here. So damage thrown back the way of Gaming Gladiators, but honestly, they walk away from that. Not too damaged at all. So meta pops, no kill found. I'd say a small victory for Gaming Gladiators whenever that.
Still waiting for Celery's rotation, though. He just feels pressure to stay bottom on Duracho, given the ice armor. This isn't a lane they dominated, which Chen's going to have to linger down here maybe longer than we saw in some of those other Chen games from them. Honestly, this feels like a solid start for Nouns outside of, I mean, Moo is struggling, and Moo is continuing to struggle down here. It is a hero in the Brewmaster that can operate with XP alone, but damn, is he poor. Gonna have to make it up in some of these fights.
Yeah, only just now getting that earned. So those kills they got earlier, not really worth as much. Yamson gonna be in some trouble here. Underneath his own trees, he's gonna teleport away. Ace cannot complete the kill. He walks away, damage done, but the damage on a Furion really doesn't mean that much, considering the fact this hero can just TP right back out to lane.
I mean, the thing is, he used teleportation instead of the scroll, so he actually can't make a real move off this. He's just gonna refill mid. So give up some breathing room to Gaming, and I mean, their cores are starting to take over the lanes right now. You gotta keep in mind this Meteor Hammer on the Tide will eventually kick Hector out of top. This Weaver Brew matchup is very good. So now, I'm looking at Gunnar, right? You get 6-minute power rune here, you have Magnetize up, you have a lot of potential in the tank. Get a good fight out of this first ult on the Earth Spirit, especially with how much Gunnar did on this mid lane. He's 500 net worth up on Quinn at 6 minutes. This is a crazy net worth differential for a player we're used to seeing just win the one-on-ones.
That Earth Spirit laning phase, this hero does so much with that Boulder Smash. They're going to go for the power runes here, and it is going to be top. So, haste rune for Quinn, big pickup. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Moo's going to take a little bit of aggro here from Duracho, and not much Moo can do to fight back, particularly in a 1v2, but up against Frost Armor and his Harpy. In fact, Moo may have stayed a little bit too long. The Lotus might be able to keep him alive. We'll see whether or not Duracho wants to complete it. He does manage to get that kill. Celery picks it up with a bit of lightning. Duracho is going to take a lot of damage on his way out, but managed to dodge the brambles pretty smoothly there.
And that's Javelin Rush. This is aggressive build for Duracho of using the fact he has ice armor and some extra Chen regen. Just maxing up the DPS straight into the Maelstrom here, trying to punish Moo as much as possible. The opening they've created, and damn, some good creeps for Celery, right? You cannot ask for anything better out of the jungle early.
Seriously.
It's going to allow him to make some aggressive moves if he wants to. 7-minute Wither Rune will not be contested here, but it will get split. So, okay news for Nouns. I think they had a possibility of getting 2. You always have it with the Furion. Yamson looking for a bigger prize.
They know they're going for the 7-minute Wisdom Rune, which leaves Ace alone. Yamson's going to try and take advantage of that with the meta still halfway through. They can just body block him a little bit, and that's going to be enough. With this scan, they saw the Grimstroke. Okay, he's picking up the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. Let's make a play in this top lane. Big kill. Even bigger if they can get Duracho as well. But Celery is going to try and stop this. In fact, they push damage back onto Moo. A teleport coming in now as Gunner's going to make his first rotation out. But it looks like he may be a bit late unless he really wants to dive the tower. He doesn't want to throw away that net worth lead he has.
Only 2 points in the Rolling Boulder. Not low cooldown enough to convert on the kill. So that'll be another missed opportunity for Gunnar. Still trying to put this Magnetize to use.
Quinn's going to make use of his haste rune he picked up earlier. Yamson, who just wanted to be able to get a little bit of levels. Gunnar rolls in, tries to save his support, and that's going to be enough. Quinn checks out the other direction. 8-minute power rune, though, is coming up, and both teams are going to be fighting for it. The fighting continues in the side lanes as well.
They really want this Weaver bottom before the time lapse comes out. This is when Duracho is still susceptible in this lane. You have so much nuke damage. You want the urn charge.
And with the Flood Grenade, he's got stick charges. Nice silence. Coming out with support from Tofu. Might just be enough to change this fight. Duracho, final hit comes in. They do trade out cores.
And they get a lot of the Chen creeps off this, honestly.
Oh, Yamson, he's got no teleport and no TP scroll. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 in that regard.
So you traded 10 creeps and the Weaver for 2 on the side of Nouns. You did get an urn charge off the death move, so a little extra potential there off the Max Cinder build. I think they're going to start to build up here, and I mean, Celery, he got so much out of that bottom, man. This Chen is
look at this
powerhouse.
rotation. Ravage straight up into the Meteor Hammer. Crystal support coming in from behind. They can silence him and make sure there's no chance of getting off a Sunder.
I'm surprised Hector lingered this long up here. He'd already thrown out the Sunder. I mean, this is a Hammer Tide, a tough lane to stand on when he has the mana for the Ravage. Connection is just too easy here. Now you're going to get the pressure of the tower. Can Hector come back this lane? Probably not still. Unless Nouns are willing to rotate more cores up here, which you could do, as you're still holding on to this Magnetize on Gunner. Just not found the opportunity to use it.
No, he really hasn't. Duraccio, he'll accept the Curse Crown stun, which is going to set up into Gunner. Now, he's already popped the Shikuchi, but he does have time lapse. They don't have enough control to move. Doesn't have his level 6 yet. He's just a little bit away, but is not going to be able to get it. Meanwhile, Quinn, very efficient use of his Arcane Rune in that play, as he managed to come down here, get a kill with that Arcane Rune, has his abilities back up. They are definitely beginning to get a bit of a lead here in Gaming Gladiators, which is scary for Nouns because they haven't even taken any towers yet, which it is coming. Chen and a Meteor Hammer, you are almost guaranteed as Gaming Gladiators to have a tower lead in the next 5 minutes.
And the Roshan threat, very high in this game with the Swarm, plus the minus armor Chen's going to give you with a fast Solar Crest here. Gush on top of it, Angler coming through with Lucky Shot. It's another one of those tempo lineups that can just decimate you with the armor differential here. So yeah, you give these small openings, they're going to run away with it. Hector did manage to go top and defend that tower at least, so you're going to repel some of the speed Ace was coming out with here.
Yeah, but as he shows himself, immediately is smoked up. Not only they secured the 10-minute power rune, but if Quinn can connect here, it would be massive for Gaming Gladiators.
Thunder coming back up. Seconds on the cooldown is now up for Hector, so there's turnaround potential on his play. You cannot burst him here, it could go really wrong.
They're going to get on top of him. Silence and the stuns. K1 Hector doesn't really have much help coming in. They're going to use the Rolling Thunder. Last bit of damage required is going to have to come from Quinn, but they do manage to get off the Thunder onto the support. Yamson is going to be sacrificed to keep K1 Hector alive, and he will have to TP back all the way back to the fountain, so it's not even like base out of that. Meanwhile, though, Duraccio did die in the bottom lane. The first use of the split from the Brewmaster. They're also going to get that tower.
Just got run down the root from Lellis, and this is going to result in a very fast tier 1 out of nowhere that was on safe lane gaming we're doing pretty well in, right? So this is a lot of catch-up farm for Moo, putting the first ult to pretty good use here, extra XP.
And he's going to catch up even more if he can complete that Hannah Midas pretty soon.
That, you get the Midas here from Moo, I think you're really happy with how this early game ended up. Considering how much pressure that lane was creating on you. You got to turn it around, big 4 kill into the tower, into an acceleration item. Yeah, you're really happy with that. Especially if you can use this next rule to defend mid.
Yeah, the question is that too greedy, right? Because you know Gaming Gladiators are going to be putting a lot of pressure on you in this next 10 to 15 minutes.
There's some truth there, right? Like, you're giving up an early fighting item to go for this Midas, and you know the tower pressure is going to come fast. And you go in and Midas a Chen and say, I did my part.
Underneath tower, but beat on that. Go terrorize, so coming out from Layla's. This may buy Gunner some time to get more Magnetite stacks onto Quinn. Nails him with the neck rolling mogul as he tries to swat buckle away. Watching by Tofu. Great spellbound, and they're going to be able to catch him into the hammer. The chain stuns are real, but Gunner is somehow still alive, and he's going in with the Magnetite. He's going to chase after Tofu. Tofu gets the armor room. What a turnaround for him. The luck of the god showing up just in time. Layla's trying to finish up in support and walk away while K1 Hector is feasting on heroes right now. He shows up last of the fight, but he will claim lives here. Oh, Ace, actually not too afraid. He's going to try and get this Meteor Hammer in time, but Yamson's already teleported away. The tower survives for now, but damage is done, and Ace is still here with that Meteor Hammer.
Did clean up some Chen creeps. I mean, very good shield rule on the end for gaming, and Ace just powering through with the damage in this fight. There's an absurd amount of damage for a Tidehunter to be doing in 12 minutes in this engagement. You can show how much, I mean, it shows how much Nouns want to defend this mid tower, and you can't blame him. You hold this tower for another couple ults, it secures a lot of your map, buys Hector time. There's just no way to stop it. It is inevitable. Ace is inevitable. He has been all season long. He will push himself to the top of the board here. I mean, a tremendous Tidehunter game. And he's going to become an issue because you don't really have direct burst damage or stack building heroes to take him down. There's a lot he can dispel in this game between the Dark Willow, the Magnetize, toss him in the air and take the fight 5 on 4. That is a round now to think about going, but for now, Ace is going to be a brick wall.
A brick wall that is particularly important for Gaming Gladiators, as much of their success throughout the season has been based around him and his playstyle, which that did become weaker with some changes in the game, but it seems like Gaming Gladiators have maybe found a position for Ace to really take over. That hit again, nice hit with the Terrorize, line it up into the sun. Gunner easily has the control to bring down the Weaver.
And this is going to be Nouns' biggest target the whole game. Duraccio, we've seen him on this Weaver before, right? He has some bad deaths, but this is also a hero that's very susceptible once you start getting killed once. It just starts rolling. That's a 4th death for the gaming carry. on a hero that ideally will give them Roshan and a siege mechanism at a certain point. Build level 9 on the Weaver at 14 minutes. He is falling behind in XP. Nouns got a few more cheeky kills on him. This is a way to just bump your supports up, help you take those tower defense fights.
Yeah, who cares if they're taking all your towers if their hard carry is still poor? They can't outmatch the Terror Blade. Try to roll in, Quinn. Visibility and sidestep that boulder across. He's going to get some information out here, though they do know he's here. And they bait him in somehow. They're afraid there's more behind him, so they're just going to back out.
This is your defusal timing on the Pango. Ravage back up for Ace. He's a little bit off the blink, but it did prompt the smoke from Gaming to push into the Nouns triangle. However, they vacated it. For whatever reason, they knew it was coming. However, they're just going to run it back. Ace trying to control both jungles right now. Without a blink, this initiation's a little difficult. Hector see it coming, the tree line.
If they get around, just around this corner and find him, maybe it's possible. Slow him down, get on top of things, while the Ravens are going to go out. Big burst damage and no mana and silence. Too much for Hector to deal with here.
Really nice connection, just enough reach.
The worst part for Nouns is they were making a smoke move at the same time, so.
Yeah, they were looking for Ace. Try and preemptively read this. This is why Hector was there in the first place. Almost gets beaten by the own move. And hey, 15 minutes, we're already pushing a tier 2. We tend to back it up on the Skelly boys.
Dire's middle tower is under attack!
I think this is the part that I love about this matchup. I feel like Nouns and Gaming Gladiators have both bucked the trends when it comes to the heroes and strategy of this tournament. Nouns certainly have their own list of heroes that I think are special to them. Meanwhile, Gaming Gladiators, I mean, playstyle-wise, everybody's going like 50, 60 minutes in these games, but Gaming Gladiators, they're ending games at 25 sometimes.
This is a team that does not care what anybody else is doing right now.
Yeah.
They're going to speed it up. And like you said, both these teams, I think, are two of the faster teams this tournament. They're happy to just take these fights, win it in the mid-game. If it goes late, I mean, they always have a backup plan. And I feel like Hector is probably the better backup plan here, but... And we've seen Weaver scale a lot harder than he used for a lot of these matchups. Especially when you have a bunch of Auras and Tidehunter and Chen behind you. There's also just not a huge amount of control for Pangolier in the late game. One of the things, yeah. I saw Stevie talk about they knew the Tango was coming. I feel like everybody knew it was coming. Can you stop it anyway?
Magnetize builds up, kills not only the Chen, but also...
That's pretty valuable. That's honestly very valuable. Every time you move Celery off the map, you're slowing Gaming down, you're slowing down the next... huge amount of gold into Gunner's pocket. Frees up the map. And Gaming were just split, right? We're talking about them abusing the fact they have a very strong call. They were waiting for the Ravage to be back up. Rare misstep will cost them some time, and that is time for Hector. The lane's out, or at least two.
He kind of has to, otherwise they're going to lose too much control over Roshan. The next objective for Gaming Gladiators on the list. They have a 3,000 net worth lead. They can take away this last remaining tower. They're going to have really good control of the Roshan pit, and you said they've got a great team to take it too.
It's just a race to the team fight item. You're looking for Radiance on Moo, give you that huge AoE damage in the fight, but you're also looking for these big auras on Gaming in the pipe on Celery and the BKB on Dyrachio. That's a very big item for them as well. We'll make sure that they can man up in this Roach Pit, deal with the Terrorize, deal with Tornado, all these AoE spells that Nouns are trying to throw on the Weaver. Pretty much useless, and you don't have the physical to burst him yet. If you can get this Radiance untouched, I think you have a decent shot contesting.
Yeah, but he's about to be ganked. Ace is going to jump forward with that Blink Dagger. Anchor already locking him down. Trying to see if he can land the meteor, and he does manage to. But he's locked bundle to follow it up. They've got this kill. Moo's going to find his Radiance delayed even further. You saw, we have 3 different cores on Nouns that are all trying to get that next big item, but the pressure is mounting from Gaming Gladiator.
It's just Gunner who's really getting there. Hard on the first grid. I mean, he is massive. He still had a tremendous game here. 3-1.
Is under attack.
All his objective goals is just making his network not look as effective as he wanted to, so he still just wants to fight. Gunner wants to slay here. Give him an opportunity to set it up.
You're gonna have to fight into this 5-man ball that's coming your way from Gaming Gladiators.
I mean, you have to take the tower defense or the Roach contest. It's one of those two, which means every time you give a pick off like that Brewmaster, you miss one of those opportunities right now. So Gunner, he wants to push into this heart and take a fight immediately after. Also, you're rushing towards his Ags on the Pangolier. A lot of extra damage and takeability coming out, and you don't have Rolling Thunder control. This Ags is gonna do work if you let Quinn get it.
Jump onto the 2 of them with the double Ravage, with the Meteor. What an opportunity from Ace. Just like that, coming 2 down right in front of your tier 3. What? Who needs a Roshan?
Yeah, Roshan began. You died in a bad part of the map to die on right now. As Moo Crew is struggling to get to this relic. An early glitch as well, just going to open up this entire lane. Sword Crest and Pipe done for Celery. This Chen is massive right now. The damage to take this fight? They're almost all magic oriented.
Yeah. This tier 3 is going to be forfeited before they even get their heroes back up. They still need another 5 for the Brewmaster to get here, but Gaming Gladiators will relent. They say, okay, we just did some serious economic damage to you, being able to kill 2 of your heroes. Once again, that Radiance is delayed. We've taken more and more property off the map, and now we could just go back to farming our side lanes again.
And the team items are just rolling in, right? I mean, Hector, at this point, he might be asking his team to please slow the game down. Just let me get the Scotty. You take a good engagement, because right now, it's a lot to punch through. You give Ace another big team fight item here, you're going to have to abuse buybacks at a certain point. Need some extra firepower. Ato's done for Lels, looking for the extra setup. Another big smoke, but just got pushed in really deep in your base. Gaming got obs in your base as well, so these moves are very telegraphed right now. Hector's just, he struggled to get these lanes in deep.
Yeah, big difference between, I would say, K1 Hector and his Terrorblade play and Duraccio. I mean, Duraccio would be running down lanes constantly, and he would die sometimes for it, but he would achieve some space. K1 Hector playing a lot more conservatively, trying to protect his own net worth, and it does result in some lane problems here. They're going to go ahead and deal with the Tormentor, pick up a little bit of extra gold for one of their supports here. Almost killing Yamson, but Playlist is going to be the pickup.
Not a bad shard to get if you can make it work in the fight. That worked for him. He's still looking for this Radiance on move. That's going to be the big one for Nouns. Is they're finishing up that Scotty and Hart between the 2 other cores, so they're really ready to gun it here. Test that Roshan, which still hasn't been claimed by Gaming. If you do that, you can turn a lot of this momentum around. Put Gaming in an awkward position where the high ground just doesn't look that appetizing, and then what do you do in a I'm in your deck. Race to this minute mark. Are you fast enough for Nouns? That's the Scott on a pretty damn good time here. Man, Hector, he's big. Where you want it all to align, have it work for you. Gaming is fast here. Your time. Early momentum. Hector's full from the tier 3, the tier 2 to the plane. He's going to propel him in throws for free. You're going to get a 2.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They are going to give it to the real hero. Mango's going to take it. Level 15 just picked up a shard as well, so he's going to be tough to combat in these fights. He's going to get in there with the Thunder, and
a lot of damage.
Tons of damage. It's just a question of whether or not Nouns can find that opening, right? Ace gets the anchor. Really good tool to be able to lock down these global cores. Earth Spirit's going to take some damage here, but nobody's rotating on the side of Gaming Gladiators. They're just trying to scare him back because they're still making this move in bottom lane. Duraccio keep the pressure up here. They still have this last remaining tier 2 in the bottom lane.
Just want to stall. Cut as many lanes as possible. Stall this push as long as possible. Put Hector in the best position to take that high ground defense fight. Gaming will likely force the issue. Go in, try and... I mean, your burst is just so bad. That's the one downside. But you do have kickback here. And this is great lane cutting. This is going to put Gaming in a position where you're losing some gold to force these plays. High ground goes wrong. We've seen it go very wrong in this meta.
They're actually going to skip past this tier 2 because they want the pressure in here as quick as possible. Now, Layla's going to be in some trouble here with the Inkswell coming in from the Weaver. Top of the Brambles, though. They have the Meteor Hammer. Lots of AoE damage. He gets off the Terrorize, but actually a roll-up from Quinn dodges that fear, and they immediately put the damage onto the Ranged Barrage. Melee's going to be dying soon. Now, they're missing their timing. They still don't have that Radiance on the Brewmaster. They're not quite ready to take this engagement, and Gaming Gladiators are going to punish them for it. In fact, they're going to chase after Lou. Have to use the Primal Split. Otherwise, there is danger of him being locked down, but his Brew may be dying immediately. This last Brewling is in trouble. It's going to be chased down. He's gone. He's dead. It doesn't even matter if he has buyback if you don't have the Primal Split.
Dire's top tower
still doesn't have the Radiance. That's your level 2 ult down in a flash before Hector was even willing to come back.
The Dire structures cannot
get another. I mean, the waves did get cut. That's the one upside here. So you're defending the base through the backdoor protection. Damn, you still have 3 minutes on the stages.
Tower is under
You're
attack.
just giving up too many core pickoffs here. Elite's not growing, but the momentum is.
Yeah, eventually a wave is going to be protected. Gaming Gladiators will put damage on those buildings once again. You have to come up with a team fight somehow. Eventually, you cannot concede all of these buildings, but Gaming Gladiators are getting no space to breathe whatsoever. A take away, that's not good enough. The chainsaw rolling thunder is a problem for Gunner, and even stopping by to be able to stop the damage from K1 Hector. They stun him up, and then they retreat. They say meta has been used. Let's go ahead and make sure we have the space and we don't get caught too much like Win. Maybe in trouble here. Have the agents, so this is just going to be his first life. Not a big deal, especially if you can get kills out of it. No, and K1 Hector limping along, forced to use the Sunder here onto Ace. The agents do not need to have the damage to threaten these heroes. Meanwhile, Nouns are dropping like flies out here.
I got such a fast Shivas from Ace, just gets it on everybody in the back. Really hurting Hector right now. That's the damage, but not the speed to get through it in a second lane at 24 minutes.
Now the only saving grace for Nouns is if they can get Hector out of here. They have this tier 2 up, but maybe deciding if the carry dies here, they might just be able to go straight for the throne. Leela's trying to limp back to the fountain. Will be able to make it. The cores, they're going to have to use some buybacks here. A kill on Durachu would be crucial to holding, and Nouns do manage to get that much. Can they get more? Gunner chasing after him, doing what he can, but afraid of the turnaround. Yams is going to try and lend us support here. Sets it up with the Sprout into the blowing boulder. Do they have enough stuns to control this Bango? A silence follow it up, and they do manage to get him 2 cores on the side of Gaming Gladiators as they overstep themselves, daring to tread close to the staircase of the fountain.
Those are big kills, almost 3,000 gold total, so at least you're getting something on the backswing. Like you said, still just not a entire team fight put together for Nouns, right? We haven't seen the whole game between the Radiance Crew, which is still not just finished, by the way.
Final.
Thank God, I don't have to pray for it anymore. But now you have Radiance Crew online. You have to get these ults in sync. That's been the biggest problem. Ace is just continuously forcing the issue before you're ready to take that straight 5-on-5. I mean, he instantly put that Shiva to use on the back end, and if you don't have all 5 heroes there, you lack the damage right now.
Just the difference in net worth despite the Midas pickup between Moo and Ace.
I mean, accelerating middle tower is under attack. Talking about Chen accelerating these games, hero benefits so much from these Raxes going down because it just sets you up for an entire other team item. Vlad's done as well, buffing up the damage here across the board. This is where this hero is absolutely terrifying. And looking down the barrel of Megas, it's going to be a hero you're thinking about game no matter what. Once he gets to control the game like this, it throws you into a tough position. Going to look for more pickoffs of their own.
If they can get it, the Swell's going to be able to help out Quinn. He rolls up, turns around now with the Rolling Thunder, and it's going to be Nouns who are now on the retreat. Top behind his Soulblind. Does manage to get out the Primal Split, though, and thanks to Gunner's parts, he does have plenty of HP. Caught here on the river, but do they really want to go for the Tidehunter first? He is untouchable.
Absolutely invincible at this point, and Ace knows that this is not even a fight Hector showed up to.
He's going to chase after Moo here, see if he can get him.
Durachu on the
with the anchor on his way out. Now the real Brewmaster is revealed. They do manage to jump on Durachu here, and they turn this around. The BKB activated to buy Durachu, but the Glimmer Cape might just get moved out of here. Durachu searching, won't find anything. Ace, he's not going to jump in. No need to at this point in time. They still cannot hit that bottom lane, that final lane of barracks just yet. There's still this tier 2 in their way. So.
Yeah, look at the top wave. Hector got it all the way in. So you have a catapult pressuring the tier 2 for gaming right now that Durachu has to go back and clean up here. I like that fight a lot better than some of these other pickoffs though, right? Especially the one we saw right by their tier 3 that translated into breaking that base first. Take a fight on gaming side of the map, even if it goes a little wrong for you like that, you're not getting punished for it. And now maybe we can create an opening elsewhere with Durachu having gone back to the other side of the map. Gaming missing some heroes here.
Yeah, this is a big slip up here for Gaming Gladiators. If they lose these heroes, there's so many from Nouns being brought to the table. They need to be able to lock down Ace, but he's so tanky and he has the mobility. The force snap, they're gonna try and hit this terrorize onto Quinn. Couldn't roll up in time. Gets hit by that first. The chainstones are here. Gunner locks it down, and there's another pickup for Nouns. Another breath for Nouns to take in this game.
That's a very big one, and it's a great read of the map. This is all Hector setting that up. He gets that top lane in, you take a fight, nobody dies, it gives you room, and then you get to punish on the other side of the map with gaming not respecting the fact that, hey, there's an unlimited chase down hero on the side of Nouns, right? That is the power that Earth Spirit gives you with the nuke stones. Yep. Gunner's gonna chase you, he's gonna catch you, he's gonna sink somebody into the dirt here. And more gold into Hector's pocket, more damage coming online. If you can get to the full stretch here, all of a sudden your front line goes away if you're Tidehunter. The control can suddenly be there, you can chain stun Ace. The armor's still gonna be a problem, but you're starting to find the solutions here, and this lead back down to 9K. This is all you're trying to do in the game right now if you're Nouns. the economic damage to a minimum and prevent gaming from getting that last lane of racks, which is going to be a real uphill battle if they get a free Megas.
But you know, Gaming Gladiators, they see these pickoffs, and it is a wake-up call for them. They're going to go ahead and try and clean up the lanes, but they're also going to group up a little bit more.
Gunner trying to break the smoke here. Gets scanned, so Ace knows.
Roll away. Is it in time? Gets him on the anchor. Nobody's going to be able to deal with this. Oh, good force staff down to the cliff. They need to be able to deal with this anchor still. Earth Spirit this far away. He still has that Hardy's free tank, but Duraccio is shredding him pretty quickly. Does manage to roll outside and into his base. Duraccio just not quite in front of him. And that's going to be his BKB use.
Yeah, that's all the way down to 6 seconds already. It doesn't feel like we've seen a fight where he got to use it at all. It's down to the minimum. How much Nouns have been cutting out this fight. And another fight where Ace did not want to pull the trigger on the Ravage there. Feels like Gunner's either slightly too tanky or maybe has a buyback and they get in a weird awkward position. Like you're talking about breathing room, add some more breathing room right now for Nouns as they hold this game steady. And now they're looking for their own kickoff. Once more, Gunner will find the catch.
With this beautiful combination, Bedlam rolling boulder, but the heroes are tanky. Got off the pipe, and that was a problem. Gunner, rolling thunder, completely chain setting him down. No way to be able to get out. Now they're scrambling here. K1 Hector, he's going to be in some trouble.
Buyback from Gunner.
Trying to fight back into these heroes, but he is lacking in the teammates to do so. The buybacks are going to be coming in. They do manage to get off the thunder, but immediately time lapse rectifies that bit of damage. Gunner rolls back in. It's done, but K1 Hector needs to be able to retreat. This Titaner is constantly playing in his face, constantly slowing him down. K1 Hector, he's going to go for a desperate TV away. The damage are going to come too quickly, though, and now Nouns are left perhaps broken as they have 3 heroes dead with no buyback, and they do not have the lanes pushed in either.
That's exactly what Gunner is trying to do right now. He says, Gamson, take as much space as possible. I will try and clear up some lanes with this buyback that did nothing. There's just no damage on the board here. He's just running through all of them. Does not give a damn.
Yeah, but Raggio gets up, you know. It's just so much different, right? The pickoffs on the Pango when he's alone, sure, damage looks okay, but then you get these 5 heroes all grouped up around this pipe and these auras.
That was a fight where Gunner found the Chen first. This is supposed to be the target you want to kill at the start of a fight. 2,000 HP with fight, having solar. It's not even that easy. Hell, even the overkill doing some work here for Celery. Way too easy. This is a beautiful 10 game right now. And you are running out of damage for added on the side of Nouns. That's going to be a 31-minute Megas.
And I love the fact that they just back away immediately. They're going to deal with further objections. They've got Tormentor. They've got Roshan coming up. They are not going to give an opening to Nouns and let them climb back into the game like they did earlier. Learning from those mistakes, they stay grouped up, and then will back away. Roshan is going to be spawning in just 15 seconds time. Nouns, they're going to have to be playing against Megas for the rest of the game.
We have seen our fair share of Megas come back at TI.
True, but I'm not sure if I've seen any this early. 32-minute Mega Creep.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
Now it's going to make that comeback. It's going to be a long haul game. It's going to be another 40 minutes or something like that, which we've seen a lot of those games. But again, Gaming Gladiators, that's just not their MO. They don't let you get to those late games if they can help it, and they're a great position to be able to end it as they take this Roshan, get the extra Aegis and GPs. One final push is all it can take.
Paradigm in terms of Ace walking into 5 of you and going, what's up? Yeah, I mean, what has been the answer from the entire game? And it's supposed to be this Silver Edge on Hector. I think that's the one big difference maker here. Get the break in, and then all of a sudden you can stack the magic damage to magnetize all these debuffs on Ace. Maybe you have a chance of bringing the Titan down. Damn, it's just gotten delayed here as Hector is still searching for the damage, still searching for the levels as well. When you don't win the fights like this, you just fall behind. He's only level 6.
Yeah, and we're seeing the
17.
The carryability of the Weaver. You talked about how this hero scales so much better than maybe it used to. He's got an MKB complete, and he's now level 22. He's got the plus 90 Geminate attack damage.
Plus the shard. This is just huge power point for Duraccio. Absolutely going to shred all 5 of you in the fight if he just gets through. Nouns will take the smoke wrap. Pretty heads-up play if they can find the supports on the backside.
What are they looking for here?
Grimstroke, Chen, that's it. Gotta find the squishies, take them out, get a numbers advantage.
Supports are bust, but they have the scan. Gaming Gladiators made the read, and now they know they're outside of position here. They're immediately gonna pounce on it. Gaming Gladiators ready like a book, and they will slam that book shut as they get these 2 pickups, and into the base they go to now finish it off.
Quinn just burning Hector's man out as well. I mean, everything is around Ace. Go with Ace. Follow his jumps. The man has led you very far. He'll continue to lead you farther here.
Again, it's under you. Gunner, he just has to go in, but shredded. That heart doesn't mean anything for him anymore.
So much hard taking meta. Yeah, game one in the books here with a very, very fast Chen lineup from Gaming. And if you're Nouns, you're going into game two, you're thinking, how do we slow this team down, right? That is all you're thinking about right now. Is it heroes? Is it players? Is it a playstyle thing? Do we need stronger lanes? More auras of our own? Something has to happen, though, because Gaming have shown they're not afraid to push these games high ground 20 minutes.
That's the part There's a different way to be able to play this game, and you have to be prepared that this game may end before you're able to come online.
And this was with a lot of Nouns signature heroes we've seen them own with for a lot of this early tournament, right? The Brewmaster, the Earth Spirit, these heroes that are deceptively hard scaling in the late game if you can get there, but still have some mid-game prowess. They just couldn't muster up the damage to take down the front line here, and that's really what it goes back to. And yeah, all Ace all day, man.
Game one goes exactly how most people would have expected, with Goliath striking the first blow. 1 up for Gaming Gladiators over Nouns.
It is the best of 3, so there's always the potential for Nouns to be able to come back. On our panel, though, we had a little bit of a change-up. Fly, you're going to be joining us here. You're going to be talking about this little NA showdown. Bring the faith for the Nouns fans.
Oh, yes. I'm here for all the NA action. You know, like, either way, America wins today. So that's what matters. And also, hi, Seattle, by the way, everyone. So nice to see you guys.
Hello, Fly. It appears Seattle is saying hi back to you.
That's nice, that's nice. No, that was a fantastic showing from Gaming. And my God, these guys are so good at this like early tempo game.
Yeah, we were worried that maybe just in general, not so much for Gaming Gladiators, that when you put yourself on a timer, when you play this tempo, that if you aren't able to break that high ground, it's all going to crumble in that later part. But Gaming Gladiators are able to perfectly execute that one for themselves. But the early game wasn't so strong for them, Rezo.
Yeah, I think Nouns played insanely well early game, and they got themselves into the mid game like pretty in a good position. But the way the Gaming played the mid game was like incredibly well, and you understand that when the teams are like controlling every rune, when they're like pressuring this mid tower super hard, and like they know their timings exactly well enough to like understand this little moments where they can pressure and like win the game off of. Like this mid jump when Ace jumped on the 2 heroes, Mu and was it Lelis? It was like the game-winning jump for them. Like they turned the game like super hard in their favor after that moment.
And I mean, after that jump moment, Lacoste, why weren't Nouns able to get anything else for themselves? Why weren't they able to take some of the map back for themselves, especially when you have a Nature's Prophet in post 5 that is able to split out those lanes?
Yeah, he did one hell of a job at some of these early engagements, these early rotations, but yeah, they were not punished. I think also going for really greedy items, Hand of Midas into Radiance and also Heart, these are very expensive items, and Gaming Gladiators, they know that this team is not going to slow down, and one of the reasons why they were so successful is Enchantress was banned out. This was one of the Celery's better heroes throughout 2023, and he banged out Chen. This was his second showing of Chen, and he looks really comfortable on the hero. The only thing that was changed, the way they played at the first start of the year, was, he's not buying aura items on Ace. It's going to be Chen for now, so Celery took over that role, which does allow Ace to scale. Ace had tremendous scale. Just all over the place, he died once. Same goes for Tofu. Both of them combined have only 1 death, which is pretty impressive. We talked about how good and how strong their offlane duo is, and I think this game shows it extremely well. It's insane what they can do together.
I absolutely love the idea behind the Chen because it relieves all the damage from like Earth Spirit and Brewmaster early on with all like these heals, mechs like LEDs and stuff. Like it's just like such a good pickup for Gaming Gladiators. They created this hero like comeback, made them come back, and they're showing to us like why it is so strong. They're ending every game like at 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal, their average win game time there. But for Chen, Fly, you're a bit of a Chen player yourself. You got 20 assists on it, so it's a pretty good showing for Chen. But how do we make him work, and why is it only really Gaming Gladiators that have confidence in him right now?
I think they're just one of the only teams that's willing to go down this route, because most of the games now, they end up being pretty late game, right? Like you're drafting and you're aiming to play 40 minutes. You're going to play for second, third Roche. Chen is a different hero. Chen hits its timings pretty early, like 15-20 minutes is kind of like your critical mass. You can take any objective super fast. Your laning stage is a little, like, not the best, but what they did is they picked a Weaver to make up for it. So suddenly you have a good laning phase with Chen. He was able to open up the small camp. He got a Harpy, which is basically what we're praying for as a Chen, as a Chen player. So I think they discuss this and they understand how to enable the hero. Because that hero needs enabling. You cannot just pick a Chen and be like, yeah, that's fine, just go play Chen. Like you would pick, a Phoenix. Phoenix can do fine in almost any situation. Chen needs a very specific set of conditions, and these guys understand it better than anyone, and they're willing to do it, which is really impressive on the stage.
And when it works, it works. I mean, like we all said, they're able to close out a game in 30 minutes. We're going to hear, though, a little bit more information, a bit more of a breakdown, as we do have Purge standing by.
Thank you, Nat. Yeah, the Gaming Gladiators going for a very aggressive push strat with that Chen pickup in this game. And because teams are farming so long, it's important to keep your net worth high while you're doing this. So if we take a look at some clips here, we can see some of the things they did. 15 minutes into the game, they're sieging the tier 2 tower. The only way Nouns can defend this is by either grouping with a team fight or by counter pushing. They tried to counter push this, but what Pango does is he jumps in and zones out Gunner. This forces the glyph from the tower, and this allows Dyrachio now to just escape towards the right. So while his team deals with the tier 2 tower at a surprising 15 minutes, he basically just gets to farm the rest of the map. So if we take a look at the space that is now his, it's basically everything here. This is all his space that he can get farm for on the map as he moves down there with the fast hero. So this means he gets to accelerate net worth. He doesn't get behind against the enemy carries, and his team gets to further map control and gain advantage. And that map control is what finds them those kills that allow them to go high ground. If their opponents don't have their cooldowns, they can't actually take the team fights, and that's what gives Gaming Gladiators the advantage in this game.
Thank you so much, Purge. Nice breakdown there, and the visual cues as well. I always like it. Sometimes we're talking about team fights, sometimes we're talking about movements, and it's tough, but Purge having all the clips there with him is nice to be able to have all that information. And we've got some more information for you. It's about one of our teams currently on stage. It's about Gaming Gladiators.
I've been playing games throughout my whole life, whether it was on Game Boy, consoles, eventual computer, like all due to my older brother and his friends that I just watched. I wanted to play and I got into it. I was backpacking throughout Asia for a year and I saw some poster of TI and some public viewing in the city. So I showed up there and there's all of, 1,000 people, and I was like the only white dude walking in, so everyone was looking at me. People were like getting interested. I bought a laptop there. I started playing on a laptop. Then at some point back home in Germany, started studying. I'm like playing from the kitchen table or lying down in my bed. And eventually when they introduced the DPC leagues, I was like, Div 2? I can do Div 2. And then, I eventually got ambitious and wanted to prove whether I can make it or not.
He's still alive, but not for much longer. Eventually he will fall to Tofu.
I started grinding into top 100, getting into games with pro players, eventually making contacts, friends.
The Golem comes down on the slash curtain on through though. GGs are called, and the series will go to the Hellbear Smashers.
My first team was Hellbear Smashers back then.
Get Tofu though, watch Tofu.
But I don't know, it's not really real if you're not playing against a real and big competition. From watching TIs build off hype and emotion, and you see these teams with fireworks winning and sad teams losing, the whole spectrum of emotions you get with eventually people lifting the ages and me at home at the screen watching, shredding tears. It's so intense that you really wish to experience the same, to be there. For me, actually making it there now is an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything else, and I'm really glad that I made it to the main stage, and I hope that I get the chance to lift the ages.
What a beautiful piece on Tofu, his upbringing around gaming, and the fact that now here he is, top 8 on the main stage, potentially even going all the way to top 6 fly.
Yeah, I think what he said is very true, because when you enter this competition, you get to TI, it's the highest of highs and lowest of lows, right? I've been in situations where I was able to progress further, or in this case, not so well. And it's so devastating, and it's also so amazing at the same time, right? So that is the spirit of competition, and TI is really where it's all at.
Yeah, well, we're going to listen a little bit more about that game one. We do have the comms, the team comms from inside the booth of the final fight between Gaming Gladiators and Nouns.
Okay, we do not go buck wild on this push. We sit in formation and we make them run into us. They have to run into us, so we just let them and then we take the freebies when they roll in.
Stay off your chin. I have every aura on the game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rush with Ravage. I'm just gonna hold a bit.
Yeah, we just can hold ourselves and we just chill.
Do you expect comms to be that calm fly?
I mean, that's a very... First of all, it sounded like very American, which is really funny. But Quinn said he's basically... Sounds like he's leading this this high ground push or this situation. And I think that's really cool because this game really progressed to the point where cores have to lead later in the game. You cannot be a support and control the game. So he made the call, just take it easy, let them run into us. That is a very calm and collected and very cool call to make.
And take freebies, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to start looking towards game 2, so if you want to talk about game 1 still, Rezo, please.
Well, I mean, there's not much to talk about other than like how well the Gaming Gladiators played and how like much transition needs to be made for Nouns to win the second game, right? I think they need to make some strategies pop up their sleeves. Like they need something new. Like maybe Darquillo as a carry. They need something that to break the game. They need to break the game because otherwise Gladiators are gonna take the stable game and they progress very well with it.
How crazy is too crazy, Lucas? Because we liked the flair that Nouns have brought so far in TI mode to the International. So where's the line? Is this it? This is your last game? Bring it out.
Potentially,
do that mid-ogre?
I think Nouns, they need to go back to how they've been playing throughout the DPC, playing at the major, the last major, and I feel like they need to bring out the big guns because if they want to play it super greedy, it's not going to work out against Gaming Gladiators. They showed against 9 Pandas, they showed earlier when they played against them in the group, so they can speed things up, and we're talking about, 20 to 30-minute games, which is pretty impressive for this meta.
How do you guys normally prepare for Nouns during DPC on Shopify?
For Nouns...
Are they the toughest to prepare for?
I mean, for us, it's always been TSM, to be honest.
Okay.
We've always lost to them throughout the years, and Nouns has generally been okay. We have not faced this Nouns with K1, which is different. But I think a big key for Nouns is definitely Gunner, because he sort of sets the tempo. It feels like he's the one leading the game for them. So if he can make calls, if he can hit the rotations, I think that's how Nouns is going to do well. And I think now the important thing is for their coach not to really panic. He should go back, talk to his players, look at it objectively. What exactly happened and what do we need to do for the next game? Like, don't overstress it because your backs are against the ropes. You're one game from elimination. You need to be able to be as collected as you can possibly be.
Yeah, well, Gunnar has some good stats for himself. So in a single match at this TI, he's ranking second right now for kills. So they've had a lot of good showings for themselves. And whereas, what would you want to hear if you were back there and you're like, okay, one game away from elimination?
I mean, I also would like to see that Ledis have his hero that he can roam it and like set up the tempo for the game. Like heroes like clockwork for him, and maybe some witch doctor for Moo because like Lelis is the guy who's making all the rotations happen and really helping the Gunner in making this mid-game rotations happen as well.
But also, I feel like if he's playing these heroes that get involved early on, that he's not on farm-heavy hero like Brewmaster, especially with the hand of Midas Radiance, because one of his best performances were on these like healing offlaners like Dazzle, Witch Doctor, and also Spirit Breaker. He really shines on the hero. Somehow, if he manages to get the hand on the hero, I feel like this is the hero that he's going to shine the most on it.
Look at the players walking back out here. They're all ready for game number 2. They've had the 10-15 minute break. They've got the reset buttons pressed for themselves now, and especially on the side of Nouns, there's a lot building up for themselves here. But either way, they've got to be happy with what they've done for themselves. Do you want to take any stabs in the dark at what they said in the back room? Quickly, Rezo?
I mean, it's mostly about the trust, right, at this point, because they need to understand, like, how to stop this machine that is walking on you and, like, pushing all your towers. Like, you need to have heroes, like, maybe even, like, a Keeper of the Light, like, something that is stopping this push and, like, being able to fight this mid-game and having this, freedom to walk into the late game if you have that.
Look, they might have been talking about heroes backstage in that small break, but we do know that we have previously been able to catch up with Nouns and ask them what words they would give themselves if they were on the edge of elimination, which is what they're facing right now.
I feel like body language at that point is probably more important than actually saying a speech. If you look at your teammate and they're like slunched over and like kind of like they're stressed, like they're holding their head or something, like it can give off the wrong vibe. But if you look at your teammate and they're just confident, they're just sitting there, they're just chilling, it can kind of instill a confidence in the rest of your team, right? Like this guy is just here, you know, he's just playing. Because I'm a veteran, right? So it's like the younger guys, whether instinctually or not, are gonna look at me and try to like how's this guy acting? Like how is he doing it? I think that I kind of have to be almost like you almost have to be a role model in that sense. You know, I play with misery, I play with fear, and I remember thinking like these guys, they have habits, they've been around forever. Like whether I realized it at the time or not, like you end up copying them in a way. So I guess that's me now. I'm the old man.
Old man for himself over there, but the body language is the key. Apparently that's the indicator, Lacoste. When they were walking out, did you have a look at their body language, how confident they might be feeling from their walkouts?
Yeah, I didn't see anything, that I should be too worried about. Maybe some slight nerves coming in because it is the first time that they're playing on the stage for a couple of players. But, we've seen some of the comebacks. We've seen BetBoom managing to make a comeback after losing game 1, which is the only one in the lower bracket. And they're going to need to speed things up, like we mentioned it a couple of times already. And I also want to see Hector on more explosive hero, something that comes online fast, that is not, this troll. Rezo was aiming for this Slark potentially. It's not the best against this dead ball, but if you're playing the pick-off game, try to get some of these early engagements going. I feel like these type of the heroes for Hector could work out.
Do you double down on the same tempo if you're gaming Gladiators fly?
I think they're going to have to see what trades are going to be in the pool because it might be different, but I think they're the team that does not shy away from taking the faster options. Like, nobody's going to first pick a Weaver versus a Brewmaster. This is like a gaming Gladiators thing. So it depends what they have prepared, and I think now it's on Nouns to change what they're going to do, and then for Gladiators to respond.
If you're in the Nouns position, Rezo, you've been there before, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be thinking about how to make my lane stronger and look into the mid game. This have robust heroes that can fight back and no matter what, and not not even thinking about split pushing them. But I think Furion is not the best hero for them in that sense.
Maybe back to the drawing board for themselves, but the series isn't over. We do have game number 2.
Nouns versus Gaming Gladiators. Game 2.
We'll be having a draft very soon, and I do know Gaming Gladiators having first pick yet again. Fly, a bit surprised by that one?
A little bit. I think Nouns, they should see what Gladiators are doing. They're just banning their strong teamfight supports, right? They ban A, they ban Phoenix, and then whatever is left, which was this Nature's Prophet, is a completely different hero. It does not do anything those other heroes do, right? It's a very tempo hero, but with the way Gladiators are drafting, it's hard for him to even fight them.
I'm surprised Nouns went to the ban Necrophos because I...
Radiant team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Radiant team pick. Dire team Dazzle.
Spectre.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick. Grimstroke. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Turn. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. 10. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Dusk. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Dark Seer.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Lone Druid. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. 10 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Alchemist.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Keeper.
Choose your hero. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Gladiators, and there's no other way to say it. That game one was a stomp, Avery.
Yeah, that was a bit of a one-sided exchange, but of course that's the nature of those lineups, right? I really don't think Nouns necessarily played that game that bad. I just think if a couple things go wrong, you fall behind. That's how that game's gonna go, right? There's no real stopping the ball once it gets rolling. And hey, they decided to give it back to him game two. So the confidence off the charts here for Nouns as they say, you know what? You can have the Chen again. You can have your push lineup. We're going to be able to combat it a lot better with some more outspam, some faster heroes, and hopefully as good a lanes. Because honestly, we were talking, those lanes didn't go that bad for now. Like all things considered, it was an okay laning phase. They weren't ahead, but they didn't get run over. Yeah. It's just the speed at which those auras came out and the pace at which Ace ran down these objectives. Way too much for those heroes to combat, particularly Hector on the Terrorblade. So Spectre, I don't know if I was ever going to say this, but Spectre might be a little bit of a faster hero in all the metas we've seen. So
yeah, she's there now.
Hopefully Hector can get more
seconds. You want to be getting a kill somewhere.
30 seconds
and
to
if Hector
battle.
can join all these fights, especially the tower defenses, maybe they can get a bit more going, particularly with the outspam they have. Coddle Darkseer can get the lanes in a lot more. It's not all on this Terrorblade shoving the wave. So Nouns have come up with some ideas on how to combat Gaming, who are basically running it back, right? This is a Chen 20 to 30 minute high ground lineup. No way around it. They want to dominate lanes, get out to a big lead, and go high ground with the Alchemist and a bunch of sustain behind him. Chen Alch always make appearance on the main stage. In fact, not on
the battle begins!
An OG lineup through and through, right? Chen Alch with the tiny to boot. Yeah. And a couple cheese heroes. What more do you need?
I think that's one thing about this lineup, though, for Gaming Gladiators is I do feel like there's going to be more opportunity to play for pickoffs again. Right? Gaming Gladiators, they did a really good job of like grouping up as 4 at some point in time, and it felt really hard for this Earth Spirit to be able to roll in and take like a full team fight against them. Here, you know, you've got the Lone Druid and Alchemist who are both going to be farming a decent amount, and we've got a Quindazzle, which I don't know how you feel about that one. Lelis in game said Bronze Hero, calling out the fact that Quinn doesn't necessarily have the most experience with this.
I agree. I don't know if I've really ever seen him play it in a meaningful match where a lot's on the line. This is not Quinn's powerhouse. Right? It's generally the